Hey everybody, Devin with Arm Wraps here, and we got a little bit of a different one here today. We got a damaged full-service fridge. So this one showed up to our customer. It's a big old IDW G9.5, and it got shipped all the way from us here in Idaho to a customer in Connecticut. It's a long way for a fridge to go. And unfortunately, right here, if you look, this was the corner protector on it, which is a pretty heavy-duty compressed paper cardboard corner protector. But that one sat right there. I think it slid down a little bit at some point in transfer, and about right there, I think a forklift, like a tongue or something, caught this fridge, came in, scraped, and went up, and went through the saran wrap and the cardboard we had right here, punched a hole right through it all the way down to the base paint. Unfortunately, sometimes it happens. Freight carriers they're throughput guys. They're transporting big stuff all day long. They're flying around like chickens with their heads cut off, and damage unfortunately happens. So the biggest thing to do on this, if you're accepting a freight order from us, a full service fridge, if it's mini fridges or something as big as this, anything on a pallet, anything being carried by a freight carrier like Estes, DHL, T-Force Freight, I think those are the three main. FedEx, sometimes we do FedEx freight, but anything showing up freight that's not your normal ground delivery driver to your front door, the most important thing you can do is inspect your shipments. People don't expect it, but with freight shipments, you have like a 15-minute window to inspect your shipment when the driver gets here. They'll come in with their pallet jack and they'll dump it. They'll say, here's your paperwork. They want you to sign it, and they want to get out because they want to go home sooner. You can't blame them, but it is part of their contract that they give you the time to inspect your shipment. So if you have time, when you're accepting a freight shipment like this, take the time, get a box knife to very carefully cut the saran wrap away, pull the corner protectors away, take the top lids off, everything like that to inspect your product. The customer actually, like I said, the damage on this one, and they actually, before they could even fully unwrap it, they could see all this damage. So the biggest thing to do when you see damage like this, you can sign for it, you can accept this. It doesn't mean you're stuck with a damaged fridge. You sign for it and you note damaged on the paperwork somewhere. The bill of lading, the freight paperwork, whatever the driver shows up with that he wants your signature on, note it that it's damaged somewhere. All you gotta do is write the word damaged. That's all it takes to inform the freight carrier that it was damaged during process. What's that? Okay, so I'm getting there. The biggest thing is to take that. The next biggest thing is pictures and video. So multiple angles, decent lighting. We don't want sun glare, lens flares, anything like that. Videos are great because you can walk around and really show, all the spots. In turn, once you have that stuff, send it along to us. We're doing things a little bit different here at Arm Wraps. Most large companies, when you buy something big like this from them, if it's couches from Amazon or other refrigerators from Webster Store or anything like that, when a freight carrier is used, they like to kind of pass the buck off to the customer. They want you to note this damage, and then they want you to file the claim with the freight carrier. They want you to get your refund from them so that you can purchase again. And we understand it's a really big frustration. When you're not used to dealing with freight companies every day, you're not used to dealing with the bureaucracy levels up in those companies and everything, and you're not sure what information you're supposed to pass along to them and all that, it can be really frustrating. We understand that. Starting this year, we started carrying full value insurance on every single one of our freight packages, if you will. Basically what that means is everything you've paid us to the penny, I tell the freight company that's what your freight shipment is worth, and it gets covered. Even though this is repairable, if this thing had a giant hole punched right through the side, if somebody, shot it up and threw it out of the back of an airplane, this thing's covered. The main difference with us being is we would handle all of the back and forth with the freight company, getting the full replacement of this fridge done for you. So, like I said, the biggest thing, if the damage is visible, note it on the paperwork, pictures and video, send them along to us. We're gonna be putting these little labels, multiple sides of every single package. That way to kind of remind you, it shows you what you need to do. It has a big, nice underlined line saying, just note it on the paperwork. And then our contact information is right here down at the bottom. The phone number that you can call us at, text pictures to as well. It's a Google voice line, so it'll accept pictures and video. You can also email us, info@armwraps.com, and then we'll handle the rest. We'll keep you up to date on in terms of like this fridge, this is repairable. We're right after this video ends going to be stripping this vinyl off, stripping the vinyl off this portion of the door here, replacing everything. Yeah, there was just that little rub spot on the door too, so that strip right there is going to get replaced. But we'll kind of keep you up to date on everything. So I've been in contact multiple times over the last week with the customer while this made it back to us. I emailed them as soon as it got here, just saying, hey, there's a little bit more damage than we expected. It's going to take a little bit longer, but I think we're going to be able to get this back out to you Wednesday morning. We'll keep everything, all the tracking information, everything you need, just kind of along the way, step of the way, letting you know everything so you know that we didn't just kind of forget about you. So that's if there's visible damage. Then the other type of damage you may see is called concealed damage. For example, this fridge weighs 200 pounds. It's really heavy. This does no protection against dropping. And freight trucks sometimes hit really big speed bumps. What we've seen is, for example, that'll stay, everything on the outside of this could be fine. The wrap could be in perfect condition, but these little pallets that they put these guys on, all of the back weight of the weight of the back corner of this fridge goes through that little foot right there. And we've seen plenty of times where this whole thing hits a speed bump, it lifts up and then slams back down and it'll crunch this whole bottom corner. Or the compressor will be sticking out the back, or the metal will be bent, and it's beyond dent repair. It's beyond the typical, like what we could cover up with some body work to the fridge. So that would be considered concealed damage. Basically, damage that you don't see until you take all the packaging off. Granted, if you took the time to fully unpack this when you first received it, you would catch it, but for whatever reason, you weren't able to unpack it, you were running late, you had to get out the door, or you had somebody else sign for you that wasn't kind of ready or willing to fully unpack it. The packaging on top of the fridge would make it look perfect, like no damage had occurred during shipping until you get that packaging off. Then you see like, oh no, we signed for this, it wasn't noted on the paperwork. What do we do? Are we stuck with a worthless fridge? You're not. In most cases, as long as you unpack it as soon as possible and you contact us within 5 business days with, again, photos, video, anything that you can to document like, hey, the packaging looked great, but the fridge is damaged. In that case, we would work with the freight carrier, have them send an inspector out. They would inspect the packaging, make sure that you weren't trying to pull a fast one on them, is basically what they're looking to check on. And from there, they would say, yep, that looks unrepairable. They would confirm that with us because in this case, they don't, this is kind of a niche product. Freight carriers aren't going to know if this vinyl can be replaced or not, or if the full fridge is a write-off. So they'd work with us. And again, from there, the process, once you've initiated it, we carry it for you. We go through the process of working with the freight carrier, getting this either sent back to us for repair, if a dent's able to be worked out or not, or if we need to replace it. But there's kind of 4 big things you need to do. Is first, unpack it as soon as possible. The moment you notice concealed damage, keep all your packaging, including the plastic bags that are typically over the fridges, the corner protectors, any cardboard, strapping, what shape the pallet looked in. Pallet's not something people normally think about. So typically with these big refrigerators like this, they're on a little pallet, and then underneath that little pallet's a bigger pallet that we put underneath it for stability. Keep all the packaging material. Document all the packaging material, pictures and video. Send that to us as fast as possible. Like I said, within at least 5 business days. And then don't take it anywhere else. As long as it is still at the location that was on the delivery paperwork, you should be covered. If you move it from where it was initially delivered, say you had it delivered to work and then you took it home, the freight company can use that as a kind of like, well, it could have been damaged when you moved it somewhere, so we're not going to cover it. That's the big thing. Keep all your packaging material, keep it where it was delivered. From there, like I said, the freight company will usually send an inspector out from their local terminal, and then from there, the damage claim can go forward. So I think that covers it. Did I miss anything that you can think of? Okay. I guess the one last thing we could, I think I mentioned earlier, but if simple parts of this, I wouldn't expect a customer to try to wrap down there. That's all one piece of vinyl, that's a pain. But if you had just a scratch through here and it wasn't majorly dented or anything, and you didn't feel like waiting for a repair to happen, we can send you this print. About 95% of our business is DIY wraps. We work with a really user-friendly vinyl that's air release, meaning you don't get bubbles. It's semi-control tack, so it will, like, you can press it down but then lift it back up. It's not a permanent stick. You won't damage the vinyl lifting it back up to realign it. So with a little bit of elbow grease, this piece can be pulled off. A little bit of sanding done here just to smooth out where that paint went through right there. And then this panel actually could be repaired in place. If time is a important factor to you, that you can't wait for this to ship all the way back to us, get repaired, shipped to you again. And that's kind of just a case-by-case basis and judgment call based on the photos and video you send us. So, but yeah, basically we just wanted to show you guys we're handling things a little bit different than you might expect ordering something like this from a big company. We want to make it as easy as possible for you, and at the end of it, we want to get you a non-damaged product in your hand. We want you to be happy. So I think that's it. We're gonna start stripping this guy, and we'll see you on the next video.